Welcome back, folks, to our conversation on today's hot geopolitical debate, where we dive into Professor Jeffrey Sachs's return and his provocative stance on why the West wants war.
I'm really excited to break this down. It's a topic that's stirring up a lot of discussion on platforms like YouTube and beyond.
Absolutely. The episode titled Sachs is Back, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, Why the West Wants War, has definitely got the attention of many, especially as it featured an in-depth discussion with Judge Napolitano.
Yeah, and interestingly, the format was sort of live streamed, right? With real time chat and audience interactions, which really added layers to the discussion.
Yes, exactly. The conversation wasn't just a monologue from Sachs, there was a full debate atmosphere. You had strong opinions on every side of the aisle. On one hand, Sachs laid out his perspective on the motivations behind Western involvement in conflicts. On the other, Judge Napolitano offered a counterbalance with legal and constitutional critiques of those decisions.
Right, and what struck me was the intensity reflected in the audience comments. Some viewers went as far as calling for extreme measures against political figures like Lindsey Graham and urging arresting Senate members like Blumenthal.
Exactly. It was like a microcosm of the current political polarization. There were viewers saying things like Graham and Blumenthal should be sent to the front, while others defended the notion that the West's approach
Yes.
has a twisted underlying agenda. Even the comments showed admiration for Sachs, calling him brilliant for his grasp on the issue.
Yeah, and I think it really highlights how charged these topics have become. Debate that one policy or affiliation can quickly become a rallying cry for broader political sentiments.
Exactly. And Sachs's commentary isn't just about the mechanics of war, it's also about the interests driving those conflicts. By questioning what he sees as Western warmongering, he challenges us to think about who benefits the most.
Right?
The controversial stance that critics might view as an attack on Western policies versus his appeal to those who have long questioned imperialism.
And here's an interesting point. While Sachs emphasizes the economic and strategic advantages gained by war, Judge Napolitano is there to insert a legal perspective, arguing that these actions sometimes run counter to constitutional principles or, broader freedoms.
Yes, and that legal angle is crucial. It's fascinating because it shows how this debate cuts across not just the political, but also the moral and legal dimensions. It reminds me a bit of a tug of war between idealistic interpretations and realpolitik.
For sure, I do wonder though, are we seeing a real strategic method here? Or is it more about rallying a base? There's a line of thought that posits these arguments are sometimes more about scoring political points than about practical solutions to global conflicts.
That's a sharp observation, and one that I've heard echoed around, that the debate itself sometimes is more performative. But Sachs insists on his claim that Western political elites have long pursued war to serve their own agendas, which naturally sparks severe pushback from many corners.
Right?
It's a compelling, albeit polarizing narrative.
And it's not just political elites, right? Some of the audience comments also strongly express that idea by accusing Western powers of squandering opportunities for peace, especially with nations like Russia.
Absolutely, and there's even a commentary suggesting that even US-based figures are to blame for initiating conflicts or pushing policies that lean towards war. It's like the entire channel of discourse on YouTube is acting as a modern agora where everyone can voice fierce
Yep.
opinions. The passion is really palpable.
And what about the critics? There's a crowd calling Sachs out saying this narrative is too simplistic, purporting that while provoking, his views might overlook some of the complexities of international relations.
Right, a valid point. I mean, international politics, especially when it comes to war, is a multi-layered beast. It's like you can't just boil it down to a single cause or a single group holding all the cards. But
True.
Sachs's appeal is in his bold claim, which forces us to confront uncomfortable truths.
That discomfort is exactly what seems to fuel these debates. I mean, isn't it interesting how strongly some viewers align with or against his conclusions? Even phrases like "no more war" came up frequently.
Absolutely, and that no more war sentiment echoes through some of the more impassioned comments. Viewers urged a policy shift, calling for an end to what they see as a proxy war culture, saying things like, end our proxy war in Ukraine, end sanctions, trade with Russia, be friends with Russia. This clearly shows the international reach of Sachs's commentary.
It does. And it really makes me think, Why is there such a polarized reaction? Is it really because Sachs is illuminating a hidden truth? Or are people projecting their broader political frustrations on this debate?
That's a great question. It's like we have two layers here. One is the academic and intellectual argument about geopolitical interests, and the other is the populist reaction, where people want to see immediate
Right, exactly.
change. Both sides seem to offer compelling narratives, yet they also risk oversimplifying a very complex global landscape.
And I've been thinking, some might even say that Sachs's view acts as a mirror reflecting current global power struggles rather than the root cause of conflicts. It challenges the established perspectives.
Yes, exactly. A kind of self reflection for the West. It almost forces one to ask, are we really pursuing peace, or is it all a means to economic and geopolitical ends? It's like every argument he makes is laced with that undercurrent questioning of the status quo, and that's what makes it so engaging and controversial.
Let's also touch on the production side here for a moment. The format was live streamed, which means the conversation had that raw, unedited pulse of real time debate. Did you catch how that influenced the tone?
Definitely. The live aspect, with its replays, chat interactions, and even the glitches where sharing information came up as an error, it all added to the chaotic energy of the discussion. It's like
Yeah.
watching a live pulse of political theater, where the audience participates directly.
And oh, the titles and thumbnails are crafted to catch your eye immediately. Sachs is back screams for attention, which obviously drives a certain audience to tune in with or without preconceived biases.
True, it's an effective strategy. The branding grabs you, and then you're instantly immersed in this world of intense political debate and controversy.
Right?
It's a reminder of how media presentation can drive a conversation as much as the content itself.
I agree, but here's something I find a bit challenging. While the dramatic presentation is engaging, does it risk oversimplifying these multifaceted issues? I mean, can a live show capture the true nuance of why conflicts occur?
That's a fair concern. Some would argue that the live, fast paced format can sometimes favor spectacle over depth. Yet, others like Sachs believe that bold, clear statements are needed to jolt a complacent public into deeper inquiry. I think there's room for both approaches in today's media environment.
It's really a balancing act between engagement and nuance. And the audience responses, which range from support to downright hostility, show just how divided the opinions are on this issue.
Exactly, and the comments captured on the video, as in the calls for political arrests and the praises for Sachs, serve as a barometer for current public sentiment. It's intense, to say the least, and kinda reflective of broader societal frustrations. It makes you
Yeah.
wonder how these debates might evolve with even more digital platforms mobilizing opinion.
Definitely. And hearing such sweeping generalizations, it's important to challenge them, as we have, by questioning whether these dramatic insights always capture the real, messy state of international relations.
Agreed, there's always a risk in reducing complex geopolitical dynamics to catchy sound bites. But then again, isn't it the role of provocative content to spark further
Right, indeed.
discourse? It's a conversation starter, no matter how polarizing.
Exactly. And I'm curious, with debates like these, where does that leave us as the audience? Do we adopt a definitive side, or do we remain cautiously critical, always asking for more context?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think we need both: an open mind to protest the shortcomings in prevailing policies, and a commitment to scrutinize narratives from all sides. It's like mixing a little healthy skepticism with the passion for reform. And maybe that's the best we can do in these complex times.
Absolutely, we owe it to ourselves to explore these ideas and question even the loudest voices. It challenges the status quo and pushes us towards a more informed public debate.
For sure. And as we wrap up, it's clear that Sachs's return and his confrontation on why the West wants war isn't just a single event. It's part of a larger discourse that touches on media portrayal, political accountability, and the global struggle for
Yep.
power. And these discussions, dynamic and sometimes messy as they are, might just be what drives the next wave of meaningful change.
Well put. Even if some of the arguments seem extreme, they remind us that these issues matter deeply to many. It's a dialogue that we can't afford to ignore, no matter how uncomfortable it gets.
Absolutely. It's about confronting the realities behind our international policies and questioning whose interests they truly serve. So here's to more conversations that challenge us to see beyond the
Right on.
headlines.
Thanks for this engaging chat. It's been quite the thought provoking ride.
Thank you. Until next time, keep questioning and stay engaged.